Overtime at the Knapp Center between Iowa and Drake, with the score tied at 82 at the end of regulation.
They were looking to get the ball inside to Czinano. Bear backed away from her, and Czinano hit the floor, so they didn't have that option that they wanted to go to. Gabby Marshall made a valiant effort to try to get that shot to go, but could not. It's the first overtime game in the series since Drake beat Iowa 75-72 in 2001.
Here's the ended play in regulation. You see, Czinano fell down that time, working against Bear, so they could not get the shot to her, so Marshall had to take the shot.
Right there, she was trying to back down. Bear steps aside, and Czinano hits the deck. Marshall doing everything she could, got the shot up, just a little bit off the mark.
Clearly no foul there, just Czinano stumbling.
And that's just, you know, two post players fighting for that position down low. Bear did the right thing, just kind of stepped away from the contact. And Czinano was bearing down so hard, trying to back down so hard. When Bear moved aside, she hit the deck.
So as we go to the overtime period, remember, Caitlin Clark has 4 fouls for Iowa. McKenna Warnock has 4 fouls for Iowa. For the Bulldogs, nobody with more than 3.
Well, and you have to wonder here in the Bulldog huddle if they think maybe early on in this overtime period, do you go at Clark? Do you try to pick up that 5th foul on her and see if you can get her out of the ball game early in the overtime?
Drake comes out with Gildner, Berg, Meyer, Dinnebeer, and Bear. That's their starting 5. Iowa comes out with Martin, Czinano, Clark, Warnock, and Marshall. That's their starting 5. But again, 2 Hawkeye players with 4 fouls. A capacity crowd getting their money's worth this afternoon at the Knapp Center, and the Bulldogs with the opening pass. Dinnebeer goes for Bear. Bear trying to wrestle against Czinano, and Czinano battling inside and forcing the turnover.
Bear trying to kick it outside to a 3-point shooter. Czinano got her hand on it, and Bear put it to the ground again for the double dribble.
Caitlin Clark challenged by Dinnebeer. What a great matchup that has been this afternoon. Clark all the way to score. A steal by Marshall. You thought sometime today that might happen because that's what she does. It comes at a key time.
She does it every single game. She is just so good about understanding and anticipating when to do that.
Clark beats Czinano, and the Hawkeyes score the first 4 in overtime. Yeah, you told me this morning that you said watch for that. It'll happen at least once, and it did.
And it did at a key time, too, for Iowa.
Berg on the turnover with good defense by Warnock.
I almost feel if you're Drake, you might want to call the timeout right there and settle them down. You don't want to get to the point where you go, okay, we got them to overtime. We got the 4th-rated team in the country to overtime. You don't want to give up in the end. I'm not saying they're giving up, but you don't want to have that letdown in the last 5 minutes.
Here's Clark feeling it now, leaving it way short, an air ball. Bear tries to save it in bounds. Berg takes it away from Martin, who's got the broken nose and got another shot near the nose or in the mouth area, but no foul. Berg looks for 3, and it won't go. Dinnebeer with an offensive rebound, stumbles but recovers. Here's Bear looking for 3, no. And the rebound grabbed by Warnock.
A couple of missed opportunities for the Bulldogs to cut into this 4-point lead.
Martin checking her nose to see if there's any additional bleeding as she got bumped that time by Berg. Ball out of bounds. That turnover gives it back to the Bulldogs with 3:20 to play in overtime, and Becker back into the Drake lineup replacing Meyer. And now Martin's going to come out. Again, she got popped, if not in the nose, just below the nose. You see it right there. Probably in that nose area, certainly.
Well, and I'm sure it's still very painful, and anytime you take a shot to the broken nose, that is going to bring tears to your eyes.
She was checking for blood. I don't believe there was any. Here's Dinnebeer behind the Bears screen. It won't go, and the rebound is cleared by Molly Davis. So after 2 blowout victories by Iowa, they're being well tested today at Drake. A 4-point Iowa lead. Just under 3 to play in overtime. Davis guns it on top. Clark trying to break down Dinnebeer, who swipes at it. Screened by Czinano. Clark can't get free because Dinnebeer's right back on her. It comes inside to Czinano. Bear falls down trying to defend her. And Bear gets the foul as well. And so Czinano will go back to the line.
Tried to run that two-player game again, the pick and roll, and they defended it very well. Bear just leaning a lot on Czinano, trying to get the steal.
Bear only 5 minutes in the first half with 2 fouls, but a terrific job she has done for Drake, staying in the ballgame, making her presence felt at both ends of the court, and just now picking up her 4th foul.
And that's one of the strides that Coach Pullman said Maggie Bear has made over the summer. They need her in the ball games. They can't have her in foul trouble, and she did pick up those 2, but adjusted coming into the second half and played a long time before she picked up the extra fouls.
You wonder if fatigue becomes a little bit of a factor as both teams are missing free throws here in the 4th quarter. In the overtime, they were not missing in regulation.
Well, at the pace this game has been played and the intensity it's been played with, you have to believe that it might be a factor.
And Dinnebeer, who had not missed a shot in her first 8, missing some layups there. And again, that could be a fatigue factor as well. Clark calls the play. Remember, Dinnebeer's had to work with Clark most of the day, so she's had a tremendous ball game and a great effort, but she's got to be weary.
I think everybody on the court right now has to be worn out.
Clark getting around Dinnebeer, shoots off the dribble, misses with 4 on the shot clock. McCauley gets the Drake rebound.
Don't need the big bucket right now, but you need some kind of points in this possession.
Plenty of time left as Becker drives, and Warnock fouls her, and that will be the end of the line for McKenna Warnock. She will foul out with 1:44 to go in overtime. 11 points for Warnock, 8 of them in the second half.
Becker has done such a great job putting the ball on the floor. Nice little crossover, trying to get inside. Goes up against Warnock and has her pick up her 5th foul.
Becker misfiring on the free throw. 3 of 6 here in the quarter and overtime from the free throw line for Becker. And if this one slips away from Drake, it's going to be free throw shooting down the stretch that was one of the factors. But it's not over yet. A 4-point ball game as Iowa comes up the court. And again, they're going to take some time. They're going to want the ball in Clark's hands a lot. She directs the offense. Stolke's in to play the post on one side. Czinano on the other. Lisa Bluter calling out a set play from the bench. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Looks like they want to clear out for Clark, but Dinnebeer wouldn't let her. Clark's going to keep it. Clark goes underneath. Pitches for Marshall. Marshall with 1 on the shot clock. Misses it. Shot clock violation. Drake basketball. A minute 13 to play. A 4-point ball game.
They wanted to take some time off the clock, but the Bulldog defense really did a great job of switching up, staying right on Clark as she kicked that ball out to Marshall, and they could not get a clean look at it.
All starters on the court for Drake. Looking for 3, Gildner. Rebound taken down by Kate Martin. A one-and-done situation for Drake. Big rebound by the Hawkeyes.
Right now, the Bulldogs cannot afford to give up a 3.
Clark wants a 3. Clark misfires on the 3. Czinano with another rebound.
That's a huge rebound. That offensive rebound gives them more time to work off the clock.
Her 11th rebound to go with 36 points, double-double for Czinano. Meyer fouls her former teammate Clark. You do not want to send Clark to the line, but sometimes you have no option.
Well, she's the one that had the ball in her hand. She was bringing it out near the half-court line, and Meyer did the right thing. Need to stop the clock and preserve the time, try to lengthen this ball game, so you have to do something, and Clark had the ball in her hands.
Led the nation in free throws made last season.
She led the nation in a lot of things last year. Points per game, assists, triple doubles.
In fact, she's a triple-double away from setting the Big Ten record held by a former Hawkeye, Sam Logic. We got a timeout with 34.7 to play. Iowa up by 5 points. We'll be right back at the Knapp Center for the end of this thriller.
This is the third overtime game in this series, with the last two won by Drake in Iowa City. Those scores were 66-63, 75-72.
We've eclipsed that a long time ago. Berg to inbound. Gildner, Dinnebeer, Bear, and Meyer, the starters on the court. Bear with 4 fouls. Deflection by Martin, but she can't keep it in bounds. So once again, Berg will inbound.
Need to get a quick shot up here, get the score, call a timeout.
Dinnebeer makes the catch. Dinnebeer darts inside. Is bottled up, so she'll find Gildner. Gildner for 3, and she buries it. Sarah Beth Gildner brings the Bulldogs to within 2 with a 3 and makes it 88-86 Iowa.
Well, that's a big shot they were looking for, and Gildner waits for the defense, gives the ball fake. Defense flies by, resets, and knocks it down. That's a big bucket for the Bulldogs.
And in their senior year, and I know it's very early, Sarah Beth Gildner seems to be shooting with significantly more confidence.
It seemed like last year she maybe pressed a little bit, felt like there was some extra pressure on her, but she is shooting the ball with a lot of confidence so far here in the early season.
So it's Iowa basketball. Again, the possession arrow favors the Hawkeyes. Both teams are in the bonus. And Molly Davis back into the lineup for Iowa after the timeout. 25.9 seconds to play, a 2-point Iowa lead. Clark gets the inbound speed, and then Meyer fouls Davis. Meyer with her 4th foul, and Molly Davis will go to the line. She has shot only 1 free throw in the first 2 Iowa games this year, and made it.
She was trying to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, couldn't get rid of it before Meyer was able to grab her.
So the Hawkeye newcomer misfires from the free throw line. So the best she can do, it'll still be a 1-possession game with 23.2 to play.
Drake going to get the timeout, move the ball into the front court. And they have to get a good setup for a good look at a three-pointer.
Does it have to be a 3 at this point with 23 seconds to go?
I think you have to go for that 3 right now. I think you have to shoot it early in the possession, not too terribly early, but you've got to be able to give yourself enough time, if it comes off the rim, to pull the rebound and get it out for another 3-point shot. I don't know if there's enough time to get a quick 2 and foul or call your last timeout. To get the clock stopped. So I think you're going to have to look for a 3-pointer. Pretty much everybody that's going to come out of that huddle can shoot it from distance.
Czinano and Clark have combined for 62 of Iowa's 89 points. The Bulldogs have all 5 starters in double figures, paced by Dinnebeer's career best 24.
Just balanced scoring, everybody chipping in, and when they're on the floor, knowing where they're supposed to be, getting the ball, scoring it with confidence.
Clark with 4 fouls will defend the inbounds pass from Gildner. Dinnebeer fighting against Marshall. Meyer steps back, launches a 3 to tie it, in and out. And the rebound scrap, it's going to be Iowa basketball.
That possession arrow is always big at the end of the ball game. You always take a peek at that and see where it is in the direction of Iowa. And I believe they're going to call their last timeout.
16 seconds to play, Hawkeye basketball, and again, by calling the timeout in women's basketball, they get to move it to the midcourt line to inbound.
They got the good look, and Meyer, again, got Davis in the air with the ball fake and just came up a little short with that shot off the front of the rim.
So as you say, the Hawkeyes out of timeouts. The Bulldogs have 1. Double bonus for Iowa, Drake in the double bonus on the next. But as you say, the significant arrow is pointing Iowa's direction.
Well, and you've got to make sure here with this, you got to foul quickly as the ball comes in bounds. Doesn't matter who gets it. You just have to preserve time and then take your chances with whoever is on the free throw line. As we've talked about, there's been some fatigue here in this overtime game. You have to box out. You can't give up an offensive rebound. Iowa's going to look to get the ball in the hands of Caitlin Clark, but there's all good free throw shooters out there. Bulldogs can't be picky on who they choose to foul.
It'll be Molly Davis to inbound. Czinano, Martin, Clark on the court for Iowa. And also there as the ball intended for Clark, almost taken away by Gildner, who has to foul. Almost a takeaway by Sarah Beth Gildner.
They had her draped on both sides, almost got the takeaway. Clark able to maintain control. Going to get a look at it. You can see two players right on there. Gildner trying to reach in and take it away, and Clark able to corral that in, step to the line.
Missed her last free throw, has missed a couple today, but nails that one in clutch time. 27 for Clark. 4 of 6 from the foul line for the All-America junior. She hits them both. Clutch free throws. Makes it a 2-possession game with 13.6 to play.
Need to get a quick score and call that timeout.
Meyer has it knocked away by Davis. Davis will race up the court and get fouled by Gildner, but we're down to 4 seconds, and Iowa appears to be able to escape the Knapp Center with another hard-fought victory. The 4th-ranked team in the country, the highest-ranked team that the Bulldogs have played on their home court, and just the second top 5 team they played, with playing Notre Dame, number 1 at one point when they played them a couple of years ago. And the Hawkeyes look like they may be able to escape today with a victory. Davis with a couple of free throws in the overtime period. And it's a 6-point Bulldog deficit, 3 seconds to play. Drake will use the timeout, advance it to midcourt, and this will be the Bulldogs' last timeout.
Bulldogs gonna take a shot at it, but down the stretch it was those free throws that the Bulldogs in the 4th quarter in the overtime hurt them, as they could not connect at the charity stripe. And hard-fought game for both of these teams.
Well, the way this one went to overtime was a terrific play by Drake's sophomore point guard. Let's take a look at our play of the game.
Dennebeer has had quite a game here against the Iowa Hawkeyes. She has done it by getting inside, great ball handling, a crossover dribble, splits 2 defenders, and gets to the glass to send this thing to overtime.
And so much of the time, she and Clark have gone player to player. It's been a great matchup.
It has been a great matchup, and that's just in-state talent that they've kept at home, and 2 quality players from the state of Iowa representing their universities.
No reason for the Hawkeyes to pressure defensively, as Gildner will inbound with 2.9 to play. And Iowa will go to 3-0. Here's Berg with the dribble. Now Meyer with a 3. It's kicked out, and Iowa hangs on in Des Moines to win 92-86.
Well, we knew coming in this was going to be a very good game. They always are. Doesn't matter if they're playing in Des Moines at the Knapp Center or over in Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City. These 2 teams get after it. They're great shooting teams, good defenders, and this is everything that we expected from the 4th-ranked team in the country, and the Bulldogs picked 3rd in the Missouri Valley.
There were a lot of incredible individual performances in this one. Let's take